All right, guys. A few of you have heard about the Todd WOD we've been doing. People are asking me what it is. I just kind of invited the 9:30 class to stay after and do it on Thursdays if they want to. It takes between 30 and maybe like 20 and like 40 minutes, I'd say, depending on what day it is. It runs in 1 day a week for 3 weeks straight, and you get a week off. It's basically just a quick hypertrophy protocol for mostly upper body stuff, like bodybuilding workout, based on the old school HIIT method. I don't know if anybody remember that. It was like the 2 sets of like 8 to 15 reps, just kind of going all out and then moving on with lots of different exercises. Similar kind of philosophy here. What this is, I'm gonna start explaining it. It is a E2 mom, 30 minutes long. So that means every 2 minutes you're doing the next thing on the list, okay? For everything here that has a prescribed number of reps, so if it says like 2 by 10, 2 by 10, 2 by 12, that first set is always gonna be kind of a warm-up set. You're using a lighter weight to kind of gauge how difficult it's gonna be. Then you're going to grab a weight you assume will be a either 10 or 12 rep max, and you're just gonna do as many reps as you can. If you end up doing 15 reps, you went a little too light. Probably better off going a little on the heavier side and getting less than 10 or less than 12 and going over, okay? When you see this, when it says SRT, that is a scaling rep test. What that means is whatever the movement is, you start with the hardest variation you can do of that exercise, and then you keep scaling it until you cannot do any more reps. So for the example of the incline push-ups, you start with the band on. Once you can't do any more reps with the band on, you take the band off. For the pull-ups, you would start with strict chest to bar, then move on to like strict chin over bar, then kipping chest to bar, and just regular kipping until you can't do anymore. For the strict toes to bar scaling rep test, notice I only have 1 set of that, but you do as many strict toes to bar as you can, then you scale it to knees to elbows, scale it to knees to 90, and at that point it's probably going to be your grip that ends up giving out eventually. Okay, so going through all these movements, just so you know what they all are. The banded incline push-up. Again, this is the week 1 workout. Get a band. Pick one appropriate for maybe like a 15 rep range or so. You want to put a little X in it. You set up your hands facing out, palm down. That way when you put it around your back, everything's going to be lined up correctly. Don't need much of a boost for your feet. Just enough to load up the upper portion of your chest a little bit more, and your shoulders a little bit more. All right? Feet are going to be there. Make sure you're nice and hollow. Head is in line with your spine. Okay, shoulders are back. You go all the way down, all the way up. You're gonna do that until you can't do any more reps. You're gonna pop the band off real quick, and then keep doing push-ups. Again, so you can't do any more at body weight without the band, okay? Moving on to the pull-up. Again, starting with the most difficult variation you can do. Now, if you're like dynamite at bar muscle ups, you could even start with bar muscle ups and then scale to strict chest to bar and so on and so forth. I'm not gonna do that right now because I haven't really warmed up very well, but go. Strict chest to bar, strict chin over bar, start kipping, okay? Again, you're doing as many as you can of each of those strict variations, scaling as you need to continue doing reps. So if you could normally do like a whole bunch of kipping pull-ups, you won't be able to do nearly as many because you just used up a lot of energy doing those strict ones beforehand. Okay, moving on to French press. Grab a bar, and get about a shoulder width grip. Okay, this is kind of a tricep extension press hybrid, akin to the JM press. JM press, you'd be laying on your ground doing a similar motion, but starting overhead. Okay, go down just behind your head to about ear level. And you're pointing your elbows forward. You're keeping them up, pointing them forward. So you're not dropping your elbows, not going too low, okay? Keeping tension on at all times, almost like an accordion. So you're up, down and up, okay? Next, snatch grip, front raise. You're getting your snatch grip. Same exact grip you use when you're doing your snatches, all right? Keeping your shoulders back, and you do it strict, all right? All the way overhead to where you would hold the bar normally for your snatches, or your overhead squats, all the way down. You don't want to really be using your hips or swinging or anything, but you can pop out of the bottom as long as you're keeping it strict. You want to kind of make the top position your rest position if you're resting a little bit between reps, and then keep it strict all the way down, pop it back up. Okay? Next up, good old barbell row. I recommend using your clean grip so you get some transfer to your clean. You set your angle at your hip by doing an RDL. So I'm here, I'm gonna go down, not locking my knees, until I feel a good amount of tension in my hamstrings. I don't wanna go down so low that my back starts rounding. I pin my shoulders back, and I'm just pulling straight up. You do wanna kind of be aggressive with this, exploding out of the bottom, because it'll put a little bit more strain on those upper back muscles, tear them up a little bit more, have a better training effect. Next on the list, supine reverse fly. You can use TRX, you can use rings, but basically, lean back, keeping your arms straight. You lead by pinching your shoulders together, okay? And you're flying out, pulling yourself to that top position, almost like a ring row, but keeping your arms straight, okay? For this one, you're not changing weight to set the difficulty, you're changing the incline. So the farther away your feet are from the anchor, the easier it's gonna be, the closer they are, or even if they're past the rings, it's gonna make it much more difficult. And this kind of one can get really hard if you're doing true supine reverse flies, if you're like close to lying on the ground at the bottom, okay? If you don't have rings or TRX straps, what I actually ended up doing today with the class, because it ended up being a larger group than I was expecting, you can just good old prone dumbbell reverse flies. Don't need much of a range of motion with these. Palms down, elbows over hands. You want to kind of maintain this T. You don't want to be like down here. You want to be more internally rotated. Elbows high, arms kind of in line with each other. Really get your chest up as much as you can, squeezing at the top, pinching those shoulder blades, okay? You don't really need to go all the way down to the ground. Really, it would be just as effective as you're kind of staying up in this range, because you're putting most of the load in that high end range anyway, so that's what you really want to focus on, that top position. Really squeezing in the upper back. After that, you got the barbell reverse curl. Going back to the bar. In about a shoulder width grip. It's important to keep your thumbs on top of the bar. You're not using your thumbs, you're keeping it on top of the bar. Okay, and these are super strict and controlled. Although it's easy to kind of start cheating these, you really don't want to, because you're primarily working that brachioradialis right there. It's a small muscle, it's easily strained if you put too much force into it, okay? So always controlled. If you feel like you need to start cheating, that's when you stop, okay? All the way up, want to do a little squeeze at the top, all the way down. Cool. Also, you want to try to make sure you're not doing anything weird with your wrists. You want to kind of lock them in line with your forearms. After that, you got your scaling rep test on your toes to bar, but they must be strict. Try not to pivot into them. Again, starting out toes to bar as you need to. You scale to knees to elbows, and then you start doing knees to 90. Quick example. Up here, toes to bar. Once you can't do any more, knees to elbows. Once you can't do any more, strict knees to 90. For most people, especially at this point in the workout, it's going to be your grip that gives out before you run out of core. But that's this week's. I'll make another video for the next one if it's very different, but it's going to be pretty similar protocol. Just for everybody who can't make it in to that 10:30 class I've been doing. Now you can knock it out in open gym.